Bitcoin has just exploded above $30,000, currently about $32,000 in price, and it looks like it has very little resistance up until about $38,000. A lot of people have been calling for corrections, pullbacks, crashes, that this is the top, and a lot of people are now looking at that sweet, sweet Bitcoin with their eyes wide open with greed. The question is it too late? Are you too late to get involved with Bitcoin? Has the train left the station, and is this now a fool's errand? Or is this just the beginning of something profound, a wealth transfer on the scale that we've never seen since the Industrial Revolution? My name's Elio Trades, and every day on this channel, we give you the keys to making the absolute biggest gains from the crypto industry. So if you guys love making gains and you want to grow your wealth in crypto, then all you have to do is subscribe and put that bell notification on, and we'll show you the easiest and best strategies to approach this market, just the strategies that I've used and that have given me success over the years. With that said, let's dive in. So as we can see here, Bitcoin is absolutely on a tear, up 10% on the day, 30% on the week. And, this is a pretty significant week for Bitcoin. I mean, it's pretty much just up and to the right with absolutely no stopping. Now, Bitcoin's market cap is currently $602 billion. And that's really what we want to be paying attention to here to understand whether Bitcoin is too late, whether it's too big or not. Now, this $32,000 number, that is the price per coin, but that is not the price of Bitcoin. That is not the value of Bitcoin. People consistently make this mistake, and if you're new to crypto, then you'll most likely have no idea the difference between coin value and market cap. But essentially, this number here, this $32,000 number, is arbitrary. It's just a division of the amount of Bitcoins in the world. There could have been 100 million, and then this price would be about 1/5 the size, right? There would just be more coins in the world, and Bitcoin would still be the same size. So all you need to do when you look at the size of a coin is understand it's all about this market cap, which is $602 billion. Now, $602 billion, that might even sound like a lot, but once you understand what Bitcoin is, the actual purpose it serves in the world, you'll understand that $602 billion is not only not a lot, it's objectively minuscule in the larger scheme of the financial markets. So as we see Bitcoin topping $32,000 and climbing, it's really important to understand what is the potential for this asset and why is it so unbelievably revolutionary for the world. Well, first you need to understand that the market cap of gold is roughly $10 trillion. This is the ultimate comparison for Bitcoin because it's just a stagnant asset. You buy it, you set it and forget it, you put it away. It doesn't need to be, money you transact upon. You don't use gold to buy that proverbial cup of coffee, and you mainly use gold to preserve wealth. It's the oldest wealth holder mechanism in the history of our financial worlds. They've been using it for 5,000 years, and for a lot of reasons, gold has been the go-to. Behind fiat currencies, which can be printed at will, as we found out this year, gold is really that reserve safe haven asset that the rich flock to. There's $10 trillion worth of gold. There's $10 trillion worth of wealth that's being stashed in gold. And there are a lot of problems with gold. For one, we don't know how much gold there is in the world. New gold comes into the world all the time. And a quick Google search will reveal that there are tens of thousands of tons of gold that have not even been discovered here in the United States, let alone globally. The point is that there's a ton of gold that we haven't discovered. There's also a ton of fake gold. Gold can be imitated and there can be fake forms of gold that circulate. The point is that gold is not as scarce as we think. You certainly can't easily send gold across the world, and it's not something you can easily break down and transact upon. There's a lot of reasons why gold isn't that good as being a currency or a store of value. But with this market cap of $10 trillion, this alone, right? And if Bitcoin is digital gold and the digital form of everything has replaced the non-digital form of everything over the past 20 years, it would be absolutely silly for you to believe that the growth of the internet and the growth of the digital world, which really only began in the 90s in its current form, is not going to occupy and completely change the way that we transact upon and hold wealth. We've literally revolutionized every single industry except for money. And now this is what's happening to money, is we're revolutionizing wealth, and soon we'll revolutionize other assets. But that's for another episode. So here, Bitcoin at a $602 billion market cap is objectively tiny when compared to the $10 trillion that are being stashed away in gold. Not to mention, this is a chart of currencies, right? You have US dollar, euro, Australian dollar. If Bitcoin starts to be used as money, starts to be used as currency, and people prefer to accept Bitcoin over other currencies, well, you have a $14 trillion market cap of the US dollar, a $14 trillion market cap of the euro, a $12 trillion or $13 trillion market cap of the yen. Those alone together equal over $40 trillion in market cap. And together with other fiat currencies, the Chinese yuan, $27 trillion, well over $50 trillion, closer to $100 trillion in fiat currency. But let's see, how much is $50 trillion if Bitcoin starts to occupy that much value? Well, you actually have $2.3 million. 100 trillion would be almost $5 million per coin, per single Bitcoin. And this might seem like astronomical numbers to you, but over the history of money, fiat currencies have done one thing and one thing only, which is devalue and lose their buying power. Whereas Bitcoin, over the history of its lifetime, has done one thing, which is gain buying power, specifically in relation to what's called the stock to flow model. Now, this is one model, and it's not a perfect model, but it is a model that generally shows how when Bitcoin's supply gets reduced in something called the halving, if you guys are new to crypto, every 4 years, less Bitcoin comes into the world. You might have heard of Bitcoin mining. Essentially, every day, a certain amount of new Bitcoin comes into the world, and that number gets cut in half every 4 years. What you see here are these big white jolts where every 4 years there's a halving where the amount of Bitcoin gets cut in half, and that drives up the value of these newly mined Bitcoin significantly, not just by 2 times, but actually in a parabolic growth because it's a geometric growth that happens. So what we've seen here is that, like clockwork, this has targeted the $1 number, and then it got up to upwards of $10, then it overcorrected back in 2011. Then it got upwards of $1,000, which was a little higher than it should have been, and then it corrected down to about, $200. And then it went up to $20,000, corrected down. And as you can see, like clockwork, we're just starting our another move up. This time, based on this value, this particular model, we're targeting a value of about $288,000. And that's here in 2021. And $288,000 might seem like a lot, but here we have a Citibank analyst, one of the biggest financial institutions in the world, predicting a $318,000 Bitcoin price for this year. That means you'd pretty much 10x from where you were today. It would be way more than 10x if you had bought yesterday alone. And it's important to realize this current spike we're experiencing is largely being propelled with what looks like an institutional buy. Remember, this isn't just mom and pops buying Bitcoin. This isn't your grandma buying Bitcoin anymore. These are multi-trillion-dollar entities looking to hedge against inflation and protect their capital in a way that has never been possible before, at a time where money printing and the devaluation of the dollar has never been more obvious. And here you have Coinbase seeing a large spike in buying activity overnight as the price of Bitcoin surpassed 32.5. And this was, as analysts say, the trend upward was reminiscent of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin accumulation. Now, MicroStrategy is owned by Michael Saylor here. This is a publicly traded stock company that started buying Bitcoin publicly back in October, and they saw their stock price more than triple to $3 billion. More importantly, he acquired over $500 million in Bitcoin. That is now worth well over $1 billion. That is now worth closer to $1.5 billion because he kept accumulating throughout the low tens and teens in Bitcoin land. And he's really served as an example of a publicly traded founder that understands Bitcoin's potential, and he's really kind of helped unleash an avalanche of institutional investment. And so as we see these spikes in institutional buying behavior, you have to understand that there are trillions of dollars looking to get into Bitcoin right now, and there just simply are not any Bitcoin available. I did a video covering this yesterday, which I'll link in the description. You should definitely watch, but it's about how Bitcoin's supply is being squeezed so dramatically that there simply aren't Bitcoin available, which means that as these trillions of dollars seek to enter into Bitcoin, there's simply nowhere for them to go except buying up and up and up the price to the point where we're going to get astronomical new highs for Bitcoin on a regular basis. And that's because one entity alone, called Grayscale is a publicly traded company that essentially all they do is buy Bitcoin. They, in December, bought 3 times more than the newly mined Bitcoin that it entered entered the world. So one entity is soaking up 3 times the entire new supply every month. And that's actually growing. They're buying more in relation to the newly mined Bitcoin than before. So when you understand that one entity is soaking up all the demand, there is simply a supply side crisis where there are no Bitcoin circulating and everyone wants to buy it, which is going to lead to astronomical new highs. And that's why I believe that this chart is not only accurate, but it might even be conservative. I believe that there's a high likelihood that we end up at a $500,000 Bitcoin either this year or shortly thereafter, whenever this bullish cycle matures. So is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Well, I believe the information I've laid out for you makes it astoundingly clear that it's not only too late, but it is extremely early. It is, according to many professional analysts, the first inning of Bitcoin's financial history. Remember, this asset is 10 years old, and the financial system is hundreds and hundreds of years old in its current form. Gold is thousands of years old. You have to understand that Bitcoin's penetration as a financial mechanism is so new that its potential has very much so not been realized. It's been legitimized in so many ways, and as it gains more value, the desire to buy it, protect it, and hold it long term grows. It's a reflexivity in value that will lead to this thing continuing to grow and steamroll in value over the coming years and decades. I view my Bitcoin buys as multi-decade investments, and that's why I'm so excited to be working in this space and have been making daily content on this channel for the last 3 years, trying to educate people that this is by far the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world, and that you can actually own a piece of the protocols that run the future of our financial system. This is an opportunity that's never come before. This is by far the biggest and best opportunity in history. So is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Absolutely not. Not if you look at the history of Bitcoin as maturing to a $1 million valuation, probably upwards of $500,000 or more in this calendar year, potentially in 2022. It doesn't matter if you zoom out and you take a long-term approach to the market. So how should you get involved if you want to get involved? Well, one way is to start buying Bitcoin in a regular fashion, every week, every month. That way, if the price goes down, you have a chance to buy more at a lower price. You don't sort of blow all your chips in one buy. You want a dollar cost average. The other thing that you can do is learn to trade altcoins. I actually show you how to do that each and every day on this show. And for those who have followed my recommendations on altcoins, they've gained by 700, 800, 1,000, 1,200% or more on their coins. And in very short amounts of time, they can truly explode with parabolic growth, these new cryptocurrencies. It's very hard to separate the good ones from the bad ones, and that's where I come in and try to help you sift through them. So if that's of value to you, I highly encourage you to subscribe and put that bell notification on set to all. YouTube has been known to censor cryptocurrency content. So if you want the best information, you have to put that bell notification on, or you might not actually be made aware when I put out content. With that said, I certainly hope this video has gotten you some good value. If it did, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. And so always remember that each and every comment on this video is entered to win your very own hardware wallet. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join my Telegram chat, the links for both of those are in the description. As always, my name's Elio Trades. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.